through discipline, through self-discipline, through repetition, through tons of repetition of the same thing that you don't want to do. And that's the key thing. Through repetition of things you don't want to do, you develop mental, like an armor for your mind. You start to armor your mind, because your mind's like, okay, we suffer every day. It's what we do. We do stuff that sucks every day. So then when the suck stuff comes, you're ready for it.
Everybody, when I was sleeping on the gym floor, right? Like, I was the underdog, and everyone, my clients were all like, "Oh, good for you. You're going after your dream." And they'd see my blanket and my pillow in the corner of the gym, and they knew I was sleeping there, and it was evident. I lived there. I didn't have a shower. I didn't have a shower to go to the YMCA to go shower. And that everybody was like pro me, and then people would come in, they sign up like, I'm gonna support you, right? And then within 9 months, I had hired people and I had a manager, and I pulled up, and I remember I walked in the lobby, and all the same people were like, "Oh, boss man's here. Oh, you're not too good for us now, right?" And I remember being so jarred by the experience, and I was like, "You guys rooted for me," and I was like, "And now I did what you said you were rooting for me to do." And that was when I realized that people want you to do well, but not better than them.
People talk about discipline and determination and repetitions and all this shit. Consistency. Why people fall off the wagon so often is because their mind is full of shit. There's no room in that mind for discipline. There's no room for consistency. They may do it once or twice, but then the mind takes over and that cluttered garage comes in, and then it's like a circuit breaker, man. The circuit breaker just overloads and it sparks. And our minds, that's our mind, man. It's like a circuit breaker that has so much shit in it, you keep unloading it, you can't put any more into it.
Now here's the key to the law of accumulation. This law says that everything counts. Everything that you do counts. The biggest mistake that people make is they think that only what they want to count counts. No. When you read a book, when you listen to an audio program, when you go to a course, when you go to bed early and get up early and you work, it all counts. And it's all going on the plus side of your ledger. But when you watch television, waste time, hang out, fool around, and so on, all of that counts as well. And it's going on the negative side of your ledger. A person who has a great life by the law of accumulation is a person who's accumulated far more credits, more pluses on the credit side than debits on the debit side. And here's an important point. If what you are doing is not moving you towards your goals, then it's probably moving you away from your goals. Nothing is neutral. Everything that you're doing is either moving you toward the things that you want to accomplish in life, the person you want to be, the wealth you want to accumulate, or it's moving you away. Everything counts.
I'll never forget one time I was running by a graveyard when I was just trying to I was fat. And I ran by a graveyard and I looked out there, and I have all these epiphanies, man. I have all these moments of it's crazy, man, of just thought. Cause I'm always by myself and I'm always in deep thought about how to be better. And I look out there, I'm like, man, I wonder how many of you motherfuckers in there just are so upset with how you lived your life. And just regret how you lived it. And I'm running a 300-pound man thinking, man, don't f***ing die like this, bro. Don't die like this. So people wonder where this comes from me. It comes from such deep thought of trying to see what this is all about. What is this life all about? What am I all about? Why am I here? I had to find purpose. And my suffering, it had a purpose.
If you set out a path towards a goal, which you want to do because you need a goal and you need a path, because that provides you with positive emotion, right? So you set up something as valuable, so that implies a hierarchy. You set up something as valuable. You decide that you're going to do that instead of other things, so that's kind of a sacrifice, because you're sacrificing everything else to pursue that. And then you experience a fair bit of positive emotion and meaning as you watch yourself move towards the goal. And so the implication of that is the better the goal, the more full and rich your experience is going to be when you pursue it. So that's one of the reasons that's one of the reasons for developing a vision and for fleshing yourself out philosophically, because you want to aim at the highest goal that you can manage. Okay, so you do that, And then what you'll find is that as you move towards the goal, there are certain things that you have to accomplish that frighten you. You know, maybe you have to learn to be a better speaker, a better writer, a better thinker, or you have to be better to people around you, or you have to learn some new skills and you're afraid of that. Whatever, because it's going to stretch you if you pursue a goal, and so that'll put you up against challenges.
You cannot let a fear of failure or a fear of comparison or a fear of judgment stop you from doing what's going to make you great. You cannot succeed without this risk of failure. You cannot have a voice without the risk of criticism. And you cannot love without the risk of loss. You must go out and you must take these risks. Everything I'm truly proud of in this life has been a terrifying prospect to me. From my first play, to hosting Saturday Night Live, to getting married, to being a father, to speaking to you today. None of it comes easy. And people will tell you to do what makes you happy, but a lot of this has been hard work. And I'm not always happy. And I don't think you should do just what makes you happy. I think you should do what makes you great. Do what's uncomfortable and scary and hard, but pays off in the long run. Be willing to fail. Let yourself fail. Fail in the way, in the place where you would want to fail. Fail, pick yourself up, and fail again. Because without this struggle, what is your success anyway? Look, as best we know it, we have one life. In it, you have to trust your own voice, your own ideas, your honesty, your vulnerability, and through this you will find your way. You do not have to be fearless. Just don't let fear stop you.
Tim Ferriss says, in the short term, your success depends on your intensity. In the long term, your success depends on your consistency. Do not sacrifice the latter for the former.
What's wild about the fear that people have when they're starting out is that they say things like, I have nothing going for me. I have no advantages. I have nothing to my name. I have no money. I have no network. I have no resources. But using Rory Sutherland's reframing, it also means that you have nothing to lose, which makes you incredibly dangerous. And I think people wildly underestimate how many shots on goal you can take when you have nothing to lose. Whereas when someone has something to lose, they have to be more and more selective about the shots they take. And so you have the perfect conditions for taking risk, because the worst case scenario is baseline, is where you're currently at, which means that it's like going to the casino and playing craps, but they say that you can just keep playing until you win. But people are afraid to roll.
If you're going to try, go all the way. Otherwise, don't even start. If you're going to try, go all the way. This could mean losing girlfriends, wives, relatives, jobs, and maybe your mind. Go all the way. It could mean not eating for 3 or 4 days. It could mean freezing on a park bench. It could mean jail. It can mean derision, mockery, isolation. Isolation is the gift. All the others are a test of your endurance, or how much you really want to do it. And you'll do it, despite rejection and the worst odds, and it will be better than anything you can imagine. If you're going to try, go all the way. There's no other feeling like that. You'll be alone with the gods, and the nights will flame with fire. Do it. Do it. All the way. All the way. You will ride life straight to perfect laughter. It's the only good fight there is.
My father could have been a great comedian, but he didn't believe that that was possible for him. And so he made a conservative choice. Instead, he got a safe job as an accountant. And when I was 12 years old, he was let go from that safe job. And our family had to do whatever we could to survive. I learned many great lessons from my father, not the least of which was that you can fail at what you don't want. So you might as well take a chance on doing what you love. Now, fear is going to be a player in your life, but you get to decide how much. You can spend your whole life imagining ghosts, worrying about the pathway to the future, but all there will ever be is what's happening here, and the decisions we make in this moment, which are based in either love or fear. So many of us choose our path out of fear disguised as practicality. What we really want seems impossibly out of reach and ridiculous to expect, so we never dare to ask the universe for it. I'm saying I'm the proof that you can ask the universe for it.
I learned how to control my adrenals. If you know how you get that fight or flight response when you get to move real quick.
Yeah.
And, you know, I started learning the mind a lot, how to get myself jacked extremely fast, like in a horrible environment when everybody's miserable. I learned how to really find strength in the misery. When everybody's suffering, everybody's all poopy pants and their mentality's down and everything, I started just like, my God, this is where I shine. And I started using all that misery for tons and tons of drive and motivation to then lead people further. Because you can get a lot of power through misery. And once people see that, my God, Goggins is going, then everybody says, roger that. Let me get my and go too. So I started realizing that if you can just find strength just a little bit longer, you will have a crew of people following you along the way.
Everyone does a few reps when the burn starts and they stop. No one goes the extra mile and keeps going. Like no one's in here right now. Why? Because it's Saturday evening, everyone's going to party, no one's in here, just me. You know, no one goes the extra mile. The thing about traffic jams, guys, there are no traffic jams in the last mile of the race. It's just you and your shadow. In the beginning, everybody's there. All the pretenders and the contenders, they're all there. But the last yard of life, the last mile of the journey, ain't nobody but you and your shadow. Traffic jams don't exist that far, because everyone else has already given up. The party I might smile at tonight, the laughter I might be had tonight, is a huge distant second to the pride one feels of accomplishing their goals. And here, even though it's painful, it's joyful because I can taste it, I see it clear, I'm closer to it. A year will come with great honor, not great regret.
How can I deal with the fact that this is painful for me? And the answer is, the fact that it is painful is the reason that it's working.
Yeah.
That if it wasn't you stepping out, everybody else that has to try and step out into this new life faces this same thing too. Every single person does. That's why most people don't do it.
Yeah.
Like, this is what hard feels like, and this is why most people don't win. So continuing to push through and almost seeing that level of discomfort as a signal, it's like a way marker that's been planted in the ground. Yes, more this way. Because if it was all just super easy, well, how are you going to get anything different to what everybody else has got if you do the same thing that everybody else does?
Yeah.
And one of the best selectors for people not doing a thing is discomfort. So the route that has a lot of discomfort down it, usually on the other side of that, ends up with something which is valuable.
Usually.
You can't have an easy life in a great character. Show me a trust fund kid that inherited a bunch of money, and I'll show you someone mentally tortured. It's true, right? Everyone's like, your struggle, where you've come from in Plymouth, in living in poverty, to now, having stuff isn't fun. Getting stuff is fun, right? It's not the pursuit of happiness. It's the happiness of the pursuit, right? It's that thing. And it's not like, the self-help, it's not the journey, it's the destination. It's not either the journey or the destination. It's who you become on the journey. And here's the terrible thing about life. It's self-assignment. Like, there's school and college, and then you get dropped into the real world at some point, and you go, well, you have to decide what you're going to do. And you can take an easy path, and it's ultimately less fun. It's short money. Or you take a hard path and you give yourself a challenge, and it's great. And I think, a lot of the times it's that thing of like, it's hard to do. Life is really, really tough. Those are tough things to hear.
Unfortunately, because of the lack of communication with my peers, I wasn't invited to parties or friendly gatherings on the weekend. So on Fridays and Saturdays, I would go in my rec room with my basketball and basically dribble myself to sleep. And I think that was the best thing that could have ever happened to me, because during those lonely hours in the rec room, I discovered the hunger, the motivation, and the desire to be the best possible basketball player that I could be. It's a great feeling to know that you set a goal for yourself and you were able to reach that goal and to knock it down. If I just played a great basketball game, had 40 points or whatever, I'm getting all this positive feedback from people who are at the game. My head's swelling up and everything. My parents would be the first people to tell me, hey, look, Play the great game, but there's no need for your head to get all big. There's no need for you to get cocky and think that the world owes you something. You know, there's another day, the sun will come out tomorrow. It's time for you to move on and go for bigger sights, set some bigger goals.
Clean your room. Organize your life. Like, get a routine. Get up every day at the same time. Go to bed at the same time. Establish disciplined habits. And that will help a lot. Schedule. And here's how to use a schedule. Use a calendar. Use Google Calendar, but don't use it as a tyrant. You know, you want to use a calendar as if it's your confidant and advisor. And what you want to do is use the calendar, sit down, open the calendar and think, okay, well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to design a week of days that I would really like to have. So what that would mean then is that you would schedule things that you would consider meaningful and productive, you know, on a daily basis, so that you feel that your life is justified by having a day like that, and also to schedule enough of your responsibilities so that you make progress day by day instead of falling farther behind. And so what you want to do is organize your surroundings, because it's a lot easier to organize your surroundings, at least to begin with, than it is to do radical reconstruction on your fundamental temperament, which you might not be able to do at all. So I would say discipline.
I said when I turned 30, I want to play till I'm 40. And I started to improve in my 30s, which doesn't really happen for athletes, because I really started to work on all the things that were making me successful physically. I only trained doing the things that really worked. My nutrition got better, my hydration got better, all the pliability treatments I got better. And he and I would joke, dude, like, this is unbelievable. I'm getting faster, my arm's getting better, I learned better techniques. A new mentor came into my life, Tom House, who's another great throwing coach. I learned a lot from him. I had all these years with Belichick. Mentally, I knew what to do. Physically, I was improving. Emotionally, I was at a great point. Like, why can't I continue to go? And I just thought, man, I'm going to play 10 more years. And when I was 35, I was like, I feel better at 35 than I did at 30. Like, I still got another 10 years in me. And I literally committed, I got 10 more years.
Well, it's that time of year again. We start to feel real happy. Why? Because we're not going to work. If you believe in Santa Claus and you celebrate Christmas, you're looking forward to Santa Claus coming down the chimney giving you some presents. It's a real good time of year. So in that good time of year, we start to feel real good about ourselves. So I start to feel great. So we start making promises to ourselves about, hey, I'm gonna lose some weight. I'm gonna do better in school. I'm gonna be better here, be better there. But guess what happens? The real Merry Christmas happens when all of that noise is gone, it's quiet, and it's you against you, and now all those endorphins are gone. And I promise you made about getting up early and getting after it to go lose weight, study harder, guess what? It's a lot harder now. That repetition becomes a lot harder now. So a lot of us can't do things on our own. So find somebody in your life. So when you throw that towel in, they throw that motherfucker back at you and say you're not done yet. Stay true to yourself, stay hard.
Where do you think opportunity plays into that?
Well, the opportunity takes place usually when you're young and you don't have any responsibility. That's when you have your options. Well, your options are severely limited the more you gather responsibilities. Like, if I had to, as a 51-year-old father of 3, married man, pays taxes, has a house and a mortgage and a business and all that jazz, if I had to quit everything now and struggle the way I struggled as a stand-up comedian, it would never work. But the only way I could be this person now is if I took that chance when I was 21, when I was dead broke and had my cars repossessed and all that stuff. That's the only way you ever get where you want to go. You have to take a path that's dangerous, and most people want to take the safe path. The safe path leaves you stuck in quiet desperation almost every time. It's hell.
For an extended period of time, 5 or 6 years, I went every single day without missing a single day. I never got sick. I was in the water on Christmas, birthday, holidays, everything. It didn't matter. And the thought process behind that was, when you take a day off in the sport of swimming, it takes you 2 days to get back to where you were. So when somebody is taking off on a Sunday, they're not back till Tuesday from where they were on Saturday. So I have that many days ahead of them. I was putting all of that, we would call it putting it in the bank. We were We were storing all of this good work that we were doing, this hard work that we were doing, continuous hard work, and it was going to pay off at some point.
Yeah.
That was all the motivation that I needed. You know, for me, I wanted to win a medal. I wanted to stand on top of the podium and hear my national anthem play, and that stuck with me for those 4 years.
So there is a period in everybody's journey where they are so different because they've started to do new things that they no longer fit in with their old set of friends, but they're not sufficiently developed that they've gained their new set of friends, and they're unsure. Should I go back? Should I lean back into getting a bag in with the boys on a weekend? Is that the highest, way that I can live my life passion forward? Because that's what everybody else does. And all of my friends are taking the piss. Oh, not drinking again. Too good for us, are we? Not going out again this week. Oh, okay. Well, enjoy staying in home and reading. Fucking nerd. So you're going to feel the pain of being ostracized from the group of friends that you used to have. But you're stuck in this messy middle where you haven't yet worked out who you are on the other side of this. And that lonely chapter that's in the middle is something that I would say almost nobody that I've ever met who has gone from a place where they are to a place where they want to be hasn't gone through.
There's this thing about people, and they talk about manifesting. It's fucking real, man. Manifesting is real. When you figure out who you are and what you want to do, and you devote your life to it like a maniac, like you're all in on this thing, and you manifest, most of these people end up, doing what they say they're going to do and being who they say they're going to become. It's real. And there's no excuses. There's no days off. There's no, not willing to grind and, everybody's against me and this didn't happen for me because of this and that and all this whining and bullshit that a lot of people do these days. There's these people who dive in and they're hardcore and they're focused and they know what they want, they know who they are, and they lay out these short-term goals and this roadmap on how to get there. Most of those people make it.
400 trillion to 1. When you understand that math, how can't you live your life? That's how rare it is to be a human being. And what are you waiting for? You've been given this ridiculous triple miracle. You're literally more likely to win the lotto 10 times in your life than actually have a life. So I ask you, my friends, with this one life, you're gonna sit on your couch and dwell? You're gonna be upset about some shortcoming? You're gonna be upset about that thing that happened last week that you up? I'm asking you, I'm promising you, please take this swing. Make this at bat. I am so tired of people stopping because their uncle critiqued them, or their mom made fun of them along the way, or their girlfriend doesn't think that they can do it. You've got one at bat, 400 trillion to 1. Please do something about it. We are living through the greatest era to be alive ever. Yes, there's stuff. I got news for you. There's always stuff. But when you take control of your at-bat, when you put it all on yourself, when it's your fault and your wins, when you own it, that's when it starts happening.
It's high. The way I look at it within myself, why not? Why can't I be the MVP of the league? Why can't I be the best player in the league? I don't see why. Why can't I do that? I think I work hard. I think I dedicate myself to the game and sacrifice a lot of things at a young age. And I know that if I continue to do good, what I can get out of it. And if that's me going now, doing whatever, I'm willing to do it because I know that in the long run, it's going to help me.
Everything comes from the imagination. Everything comes from, before this microphone was a microphone, someone somehow thought about it. How can I speak into something that would amplify my voice and blah, 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 blah. And then this came out of it and it's evolved over the years. But everything comes from the imagination. So the power of the mind, people don't understand. We still don't understand. I still don't understand how powerful it is. I'm still learning. But I know one thing is I can make things happen. I can go into levels, I just can't tell the world, but these levels that I've manifested things that I'm just I still shock myself, how the f did I make that happen? And this is not even to do with fighting, this is to do with my personal life. And I'm I made that happen. And this is through this manifesting subconsciously as well. Just years of something just manifesting, and boom, it's right there. I'm just I really made that happen. It's scary, man. It's scary for me to even think about.
what I try to do is try to schedule my day as best as I can. And, you know, when you're busy, and all of us are busy in our own way, so I really try to make sure that I'm paying attention to the schedule, I'm really looking at it, and I'm going to take a fine-tooth comb through it and go, not that, because it's easy just to say, yeah, I'll do it. Oh, this thing is for 10 minutes, Joe. Can you? Yeah, okay, I'll do it. And before you know it, all that shit, it's an hour, and then it's 2 hours and all that. So I really try to make sure that I'm looking at the schedule and try to be smart about the moves these days. And I also learned, man, there's just power in saying no.
Yeah.
No.
You gotta have you time.
Yes.
You time's important. Like you can't, one of the things I always tell everybody, discipline is really important, but also enthusiasm is really important.
Look, you have a project that's due at work that you don't feel like working on right now. Doesn't matter that you don't feel like working on it right now. You impose discipline on the situation and you do what you're supposed to do. You have a exercise, you need to work out this morning. You haven't worked out yet. You wake up in the morning, you need to go work out. You don't feel like working out. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that you don't feel like working out. It doesn't matter. It's not part of the calculation. Discipline overrides that. Discipline trumps your feelings. And that is what you need to apply as a person, as a normal human being, no matter what you're doing in your life. You need to let discipline be your guide, not how you feel. That's what we need to do. And if you do that, you're going to end up with freedom. You're going to end up with freedom across the board. Discipline equals freedom. That's what I have been saying for a long time. It is 100% factually true. If you allow your feelings to dictate what you do, you will end up being a slave to your feelings at a minimum.
Once a journalist asked a CEO, "What is the secret to your success?" The CEO replied, 2 words. The intrigued journalist asked, "What are they?" The CEO said, "Good decisions." Now the journalist wanted to question further, "And how do you make good decisions?" The CEO said, 1 word, experiences. The journalist then asked, "How do you get experience?" The CEO replied, 2 words. And the journalist said, "What are they?" The CEO replied, "Bad decisions." They say it takes 10, 20, 30 years to become an overnight success. There is no one out there that you see today achieving things, becoming successful, winning awards that hasn't made bad decisions, that hasn't had bad moments, that hasn't had bad experiences. It's when we're treading uncertain paths that we find lessons that will help build our future. It's when things aren't going to plan that we find there are new opportunities than we ever saw before. We spend so much time just trying to avoid making bad decisions that we stop ourselves from moving in the right direction. When we try to avoid making bad decisions completely, we often just get stuck and become paralyzed and end up doing nothing and making no decisions. You can only know whether your decision is good or bad in hindsight. And remember, failure is an event and not a person.
But you need to do something that is worthy of being prideful about, right? What would have had to have happened in a week for you to look back on that week with pride? Okay, maybe stop breaking promises to yourself. When you say, I'm going to wake up tomorrow at 7 a.m., and when the option comes to hit the snooze button, don't do it. There's one win that you've got for the day. That's action, right? And it is just, it's tried to say the Peterson clean your room thing, but the reason that that works is that you start with the smallest ever step and you expand out from that. You want to become a writer. You want to leave your job and become a writer. Okay, can you commit to writing 1 blog post on Substack per week for the next 3 weeks? That would make you feel like less of a loser if you did that. Action has to come first if you're the sort of person who is chronically unconfident, because you will drag your sense of identity behind you.
We're the lucky ones. A point made by Richard Dawkins, more poetically than I can recite here. We're the lucky ones. We're the ones who get to die, because you only get to die for having lived. Most people who could ever exist will never even be born. So no matter what your lot is in life, if you have a disease or you have cancer, you're crippled, whatever is the thing, at the end of the day, you're alive, not dead, nor not having ever been born. So take every occasion you can to smell the flowers, to drink in the sunsets and the sunrise and the majestic sky above you that they cradle through the nighttime hours, and celebrate life because you won the lottery.